welcome to episode 9 of Enlivening Musings. I'm Crystal.
And I'm Katie.
And today we're talking about judgment. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my goodness. I feel like I have so much to say about this. And also, we don't have to jabber on forever, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Okay. So I'm really passionate about this concept of judgment. I had a huge phase of my life pre-motherhood where I, first of all, totally just followed my bliss. I was super just go with the flow and laid back, all of those amazing, wonderful things. And I felt at ease with non-judgment, and I felt very aligned with and attuned to the concept that you can see in all kinds of different teachings, whether they're like super spiritual or more new agey or whatever. They're just across the board, of the fact that there's no right or wrong, and it just is. These things just exist, and they can be polarities, and yet, what does that all look like? And so I felt really confident in that. And then, I became a mom, and I definitely had the experience of feeling very judged.
My mom's favorite line is motherhood. It's just one big guilt trip.
Jeez.
I know.
Oh,
just
my
so bad. But a lot of people experience that.
Absolutely.
So, but we don't want you to feel that way.
Right. Yeah. Please. Let's heal. Let's heal together.
I know. Let's heal that together.
So I felt that. I felt very judged, for so many different things. And of course, it's, you go into a mom's group on social media and it is like, whoa, because I sit here and I feel like, we're all here. We're all moms.
Yeah.
Let's support one another. And yes, let's ask questions and bounce ideas and figure this thing out together. The babies didn't come with a manual like we all complain about, right? And all this stuff. And there are so many polarity type subjects. And it creates, and probably all of you have heard of the mommy wars and stuff. And it just blows me away. And it's something that I felt when I became a mom. And I had a friend who at one point, she felt very judged by me, which I honestly was just asking her a question. So, we all have our own stuff. But she threw at me, maybe you wouldn't feel so judged if you weren't judging other people all the time. And
but that hurt.
It did. And it's really good insight too, because when we are feeling really judged, for me, it was me judging myself and different stuff. I didn't tend to put it outwards a whole lot. I'm not immune to it.
Yeah.
But it was something where, I kept looking inside and was doing all of this stuff, and I was just looking at all of that and reflecting all of that. So anyways, it's a valid point is why I mention it, because when we are feeling really judged, we are either judging ourselves really harshly, or we are judging other people. That's true. Then that gets reflected back to us.
It's true. It's not fun to hear that, but it's true.
Right.
The world is just a reflection of you. No one really likes, I don't really like hearing that, even though I know it's true. I'm like, okay, well, maybe everything but this situation.
Well, okay. So I heard, this is fun because I heard somebody saying something, they were talking about mirroring, and totally valid, and the reflection's totally valid. And there are experiences where somebody's projecting on you. And so when they are projecting, it's not so much a straight up mirror or a reflection. Yeah. It could bring up other stuff, like maybe you want to improve your communication, or you want to da-da-da-da-da. But in those types of instances, I have a really hard time with thinking that every single thing is a mirror or a reflection.
Yeah,
Does that make
I would
sense?
I would agree with that because I do feel like there's moments like that too when you can, and I think the more you do your own work, you just start to see it all differently. Like I
Right.
always feel like it's when you feel that what I call is like that karmic loop come back, and it's like in my eyes I visualize it. It's like I'm looking like a snake in the eyes, and I'm just like I see you now. Like I get it. I'm experiencing all this again, but I see it now. I
I
see it.
love that.
And I'm like, and now it's done,
Yeah.
or I'm up to another level of it. And I always feel like that's such a cool experience is when you feel it, the experience, and you're just like, no, you're not going to get me this time. I'm ready to learn from this and move on. But I'm really like visual that way, I think. And I like just see it.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
staring it
No.
down.
Yeah.
It's very empowering.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, in this land of judgment, first of all, I'm curious. I kind of want to backtrack because nobody can see Katie's face right now. But you made quite the face when I mentioned mommy groups.
I was like trying not to laugh, I think, because everyone just, I mean, it's funny. Like there's memes about it. Like you ask like a simple question and like there's certain questions you just don't want to ask. You're going to get 5 million comments and
Right.
all
And
the
both
different
sides,
things.
and then there's a whole fight going on underneath.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I have been saying recently, so I have like this gap with my kids. So I have a 16-year-old and then the little ones too. And, she just got her driver's license, so it's this whole new threshold. But I've felt myself say it a couple times to people is like, I feel like with motherhood, with her, there's been a lot of things that I think I'm supposed to be doing. Like she should have this specific curfew and have these certain rules. But I feel myself like trying to say it or enforce it. But I'm like, I really don't feel that way. And that's not really what I want to do. And because of who she is and what I feel like she needs and just my experience as a mom. So that has been kind of interesting because we all have our own ideas of like how we should raise our kids. And the great thing is we get to do whatever we want because
Yeah.
it's our experience. I hate to say they're our kids, like claim them that way, but
Yeah.
it's our chance to just experience parenthood, and we do get to make the choices of how we want to raise them as humans because in my beliefs, like they chose us and said, hey, I think that would be a good experience for me. Let me
Right.
jump in.
Yeah.
So they knew what they were getting into. And so it's
Exactly.
my chance to have fun with it and enjoy parenthood and the ups and downs and mistakes. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you don't have to do it the same way at all because every
Right.
kid is different.
Well, right. That's
Some
exactly
might need
what I was
different
thinking.
things.
Like,
So yeah, the judgment thing, it's interesting.
and I think it's really wild how much it's not just in motherhood then, and like it's just out there. And of course, I'm going to tie it into my work a little bit. When I think about how much I talk about pleasure, like it's like, how are we supposed to shift from this pain-based society to being more pleasure-based when we're sitting here judging everybody and judging everything as right and wrong and good and bad and all the in-betweens, It's like, it's just not possible. And then we're feeding so much like self-hatred and all of these things that create illness. It's so hard to witness, basically. It's not, and to continually kind of talk about and shift and be with. And it's interesting, too, because on my journey, I had somebody, I was so into this place of like, there's no right and wrong. And everybody always has a thing with that because it's just like, what about somebody who's murdering somebody? And all of these really going to the extremes. Awfuls, yes, those things are really awful. And so, so bringing up so many of those types of situations and even tying that into parental choices and stuff and like what that looks like. And she had a different view of like just being discerning or this or that. And there was truth in that. And it was interesting for me to take that on for a short period of time and see what that was like. And then a whole scene happened in my life where my crazy, messy house was super judged. And I was just like, screw this. Like, that was my big inappropriate gesture here to the whole thing. You know, I'm just like, no way. This is me. I'm going to be me. And we talked about this a little bit in the last episode and talking about like your house and like moving through it. And if other people are like saying different things. And I get all of that too when we're talking about, even just talking about reflections. You know, people talk about your house being like a reflection of you. And it's like, but this is one component and I'm sharing it with 4 other people.
Yeah.
And the actual space is set up in this specific way. And yes, with all of this stuff. And I mean, I could go into like a whole thing. I'm totally like not a minimalist, but I'm also not quite a hoarder. So that's great.
I know. That's what I love about you. And just other people in my life, like when you see someone just like being themselves and not caring, and I feel like I'm just gonna love on you a little bit, is like,
Oh, thanks.
as you've come into my life and you've like surprised me in ways that you are, and like different things you like that I'm like, I wouldn't have expected that from you. I love being surprised by people. Like, it really brings me pleasure, I would say. Like, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I expected them to like fit into this box, back to judgment. And not in a bad way, but I'm like, oh, like, I think you were like doing fantasy football. And I'm like, I would have never guessed that in you. And it's just like, it's so liberating to know we don't have to fit into this certain way. And that's been something probably in the last couple of years that has really grown in me. And it's great having a friend like you that lives it. And it reminds me that I don't have to like dress a certain way because of the work I do. Like, I can wear like whatever I want. Like, I like to wear like sweatpants and like a Nike sweatshirt, or like more sporty stuff sometimes, even though I'm doing kind of this holistic spiritual work. You might think like I need to wear like these flowy robes and like a skirt and like feather earrings. Like, that's not me. Well, sometimes it might be, but
components maybe.
yeah. So it's really fun to just be yourself.
Yeah. So yes, I think that's a great like rounded off point. That is the biggest lesson probably in it, or gift of it, of judgment, is it's like when you free yourself from it, whether it's your own judgment towards everything else or releasing other people, feeling other people's judgment for you and letting that just flow off of you. That's exactly what you get.
Yeah.
Is to just be.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's freedom. You know, that's what I think we all want.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yes.
Who out there is ready to do this? Yes, please.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, if this lands for you too, you know, you can DM us on Instagram at Enlivening Musings, and we love hearing from you. So feel free to send us any messages or anything like that. And we hope you're having a splendid day.
Bye.